Hello and welcome to Let's Review. Well, it's happened again. The Sunrider Academy Let's Play was sufficiently long that I ended up having to split it over 2 weeks. So as a result, this week we once again go digging in the crate. Quite some time ago, Big Huge Games and Microsoft Game Studios created Rise of Nations, an RTS game that spanned all of human history. Later on, they expanded upon it with, well, the expansion pack, Thrones and Patriots, which added new units and new campaigns and various other things. Now I own both, but to me, by far the most interesting game in the series was the one they created next, Rise of Legends. I'm not entirely sure you can describe it as in the series. Oh, granted it is very standalone, but given the similarities in the gameplay and, well, the title, frankly, I'd probably best describe it as a spin-off. Rise of Legends is about the battle between 3 different forces for control of this world. The Vinci, who use steampunk technology, the Aline, who use magic, and the Quattro, who worship a small group of crashed aliens as gods, and thus have an interesting combination of the primitive and the hyper-advanced. Ah yes, the old alien gods routine. I know, it does get used a lot, but to be fair, the setting here is pretty damn unique, and the fact that all 3 factions are very different from each other does definitely help proceedings. The game actually does have 3 separate campaigns. However, given that they follow the same characters in chronological order, I would say it's more accurate to describe it as a single campaign that's actually split into 3 separate acts. The story itself follows an inventor named Giacomo, a young man from the city-state of Miana. When investigating a strange disturbance at a local mine with the aid of his elder brother, he and his party are attacked by the Doge of Vinci, and his brother is killed, leaving Giacomo as the new leader of Miana. And a dead family member. They really are going for broke in the first 10 minutes, aren't they? Look, granted it may lead with a few cliches, but as you and I both agree, that's okay, provided you do something interesting with them. And it doesn't take long for Giacomo to realise that, while he certainly wants revenge, that can't be all that drives him, particularly once he starts realising how messed up parts of the world have become. Each of the 3 campaigns places Giacomo in command of one of the 3 different forces as he and his allies travel across the entirety of the world. Ah, so there are other characters then? Oh, absolutely. Giacomo is joined in his mission by a variety of hero units who can all be levelled up in between fights and can contribute significantly to the battle. Many of them also play important parts in the story, including people like General Carlini, who is an old friend of his family. There's also people like the Sky Pirate Lenora, the Aline Princess Ari, and a whole bunch of others. That's a tiny handful of the heroes available. The story itself is also pretty well told. It features some really solid dialogue, some very good character development, and it ends in a way that ties up all its loose ends, while also leaving the possibility of a sequel if they wanted to make one, which sadly we never did get. Did the game not sell well? Not as well as Rise of Nations, which is actually a pity because, in my opinion at least, Rise of Legends is actually a lot more interesting. I glossed over the factions earlier, but I want to talk about them in a little more detail now, and I'm going to start with my least favourite, the Quattro. Your least favourite are the ones with the alien technology? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're in no way bad, they're just not as good as the ones for the other 2 factions. They have this very interesting Mayan vibe to them with a lot of interesting alien stuff thrown in, including a giant floating death city. Because who doesn't love a giant floating death city? I really don't have any problems with the Quattro unit designs, they're just not as good. Though I will admit a certain fondness for the sort of cybernetic jaguars, they're pretty damn cool. So that leaves the steampunk one and the magical one, yes? Correct. And of those 2, the Aline are the weaker. Now again, that doesn't make them bad in any way, I just really love the Vinci, and I'll talk about them in a second. The Aline are a desert people who rely heavily on magic, and as a result their forces include things like genies, sand wraiths, and of course, dragons. Specifically dragons made of glass because why not? I really do like a lot of the unit designs, particularly things like the fact that one of the Aline heroes rides into battle on the back of a giant freaking scorpion. Alright, I will give you that. Riding a giant scorpion into battle is certainly rather spectacular. I know, right? And then there are the Vinci. I bloody love Vinci technology. Everything about it is beautiful, from the clockwork men to the Da Vinci style helicopters, the steampunk mechs to the giant air destroyers. Everything about their technology is absolutely beautiful. And frankly, if you're like me and you're a bit of a steampunk fan, you should consider checking this game out just to see some of these designs. Are you really trying to say that this game is worth playing purely for the unit designs? Alright, they don't exactly sell the game entirely on their own, but if you're an RTS fan, I can strongly recommend checking this out. Let's face it, the gameplay is really damn solid, and I really like the fact that most of the missions on the campaign map have their own unique scenarios rather than being a bunch of skirmishes. Rise of Legends is an exceptional RPG, and I can happily recommend it to anyone. If you're a fan of the genre in particular, I strongly recommend you try and dig up a copy. You know, you always recommend the games that you cover on Digging in the Crate. Well, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this crate, but hey, if it'll make you happy, next time I do a Digging in the Crate, I'll do something that's a little bit weaker. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think this bloody crate needs a clean again. I'll see you later.